Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Talks. Today we have ESFPs in the workplace. And so Pete, would you like to tell us a bit about you?
Yeah, my name is Peter Sarfati. I live out in Miami, Florida. Work as a senior field economist for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So when you hear the term inflation, all those numbers you hear reported on the news, I'm one of the people that goes out and collects the raw data that's used to calculate that number.
Interesting. And John?
Hey, I'm John, ESFP, 8 Wing 7, sexual social. I own a Taekwondo studio, fitness center, and yoga studio. And then I do executive protection work mostly in the summer, which is like glorified bodyguard work.
Awesome.
Cool.
And Shane?
Okay, my name is Shane. I am an ESFP, of course, and I'm also an Enneagram 3 Wing 2, like Peter up there. And I think that makes for some mistyping sometimes. A lot of times people, they peg me as an ESTP, and I think that's because of that little edge that the Enneagram 3, puts in that ESFP slot, and that makes me look a little different than the happy-go-lucky, what's up. But I can be that way too. I'm a leasing agent, and that phone ringing is my work, but I am putting them on reject. So, yeah, talking about work, I'm doing this thing and driving and working and multitasking and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, you are quite talented at multitasking. And Sally?
I'm Sally. I'm an ESFP. I'm obsessed with astrology and MBTI. I'm a Virgo, and I love eating chips.
Chips are life. Yeah. And hi everyone. My name is Joyce, and I'm a certified MBTI practitioner, and I facilitate the instrument in organizations. So ESFPs, what are some strengths that other people notice about you in the workplace?
I'll go ahead and start. In my line of work, since we do a lot of communication with the private sector, so we're collecting all this, economic pricing data, you would think that my job being an economist is all about, numbers. And while there is some aspect of it, it's really more of a sales job, because in order to gather this data, I need to solicit cooperation from the private sector. Interestingly enough, in my line of work, almost everybody is, the few I've talked to, it's like an INTJ type of person. That's what economics majors tend to gravitate, or be. And so with what I bring to the workplace is something very different, because I can have that interpersonal skill, being able to establish rapport with these people who I'm contacting in businesses. So people are like in amazement, like how I can, gain cooperation from, let's say, a company which, it's a voluntary data gathering, effort. But I can convince them to do it, and it's because I can develop rapport. I know how to get a feel for who I'm talking to really quick. I think on my feet. I can talk with anybody, and I would prefer not even to rehearse what I'm about to say. I just make the call, and I just immediately just get into it, and I'm just myself. So people notice that. That's something I can bring to the table. Is just I'm spontaneous. I can work with, I could talk to a president one day, or a CFO, CEO, and just equally, just be as friendly and personable as I can be.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so Personality Hacker says that feelers are great with energetic rapport. So being able to vibe with people, and you mentioned that amazingly, Peter. And so anyone else?
I'll say that I think I'm noted for bringing a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the table most days, except days like right now when I'm in pain because I was moving boxes and hurt myself. So I'm like trying to pretend it doesn't hurt and smile for the show and all that. But I'm just like, where's my pills? But anyway, most of the time I'm just energy. I don't miss work. I'm not late. I don't need naps. I don't need days off. I'm like the energizer, and that goes with people and with things. I might not be the most technical, like a TI lead person, and it might take me a little bit longer to learn something, but through sheer force and effort and willpower, I can get done what needs to get done. And once I do learn something, then I got it. And it's hard to stop me after that. So that's what I think I bring to the table in the workplace.
I relate. I've had it be told to me by people that thought about like partnering in business and stuff. When I get on track, they said it's like a freight train. Like you're either gonna get aboard or get out of the way, because like everything in my wake will be destroyed, or I'm gonna bring everybody up. It's one or the other, but we're moving. Like I'm going. But in that, like, and we talked about this pre-recording a little bit, but like ESFPs, I think, especially have this like untapped energy that just keeps going, and we manage to kind of push through. So when you say, you know, like I keep going, I can just get there. Like I think that's one of our biggest traits. I always say that like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done. It may not be on your timeline, or it may be on your timeline, but you said, you know, I have till Monday and I'm going to start Saturday night, when you would have hoped I started like Wednesday of last week. But I'm still going to get it done, even though I've only got 2 days to finish it. In fact, I'm going to get it done quick and efficient, and still have like the happiness to know that, like, or the wherewithal to know that I did it right, just quickly.
I want to say something about that. I think it was on Personality Hacker. They were talking about the whole concept of how we can identify with our tertiary slot. So I do that too because of ESFP. It's that TE in the third spot. And just hearing you talk and Shane talk, it's like that's what we're attaching to, how we're doers, how we get things accomplished. I've been told that I tend to steamroll over people, but I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just exactly like you said. If I want to do something, it's like, sorry, you're in the way, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that also goes to like extroverted sensing. When we're so like adept to picking up on the micro expressions or picking up on the little things that make the big picture. But we already see the outcomes based on what we see in front of us, where a lot of other people tend to like have the intuition behind it and be like, I don't know if that feels right, but I'm like, I see it already. It's already like, if we're on track, join on or out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's this immediacy to SE DOMs.
Absolutely.
And I think that gets lost on our type a lot. When one talks of immediacy in an SE DOM, they usually mean ESTPs, and they forget that we're SE DOMs too, and that we have that same capacity.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys view or watch Anna Reel at all, but like I've started working with her on SE. So she has like certain videos and stuff that she's putting out with me, because it's just like, let's go, let's do this thing. And it's something that she would never do. Like, let's go shooting. Let's teach you how to drive a stick. And it's always something random. It's whatever I come up with that day. But like, I think that's again where we have strength is like random go. Like we can come up with an idea and make it work immediately. So again, immediacy. That's what we're doing.
And that, you know, to link up what you just said, John, in the workplace, I want to say the phrase problem solving, whether it's problems between people or something's broken in the office and it needs a quick fix. I think we're best at being able to find like a pen and a piece of paper and a piece of cardboard. We can make a fix for something that seemed impossible to everyone else.
Yeah.
And it was an ESFP.
Yeah, very quick on your feet. And so, Sally, you can talk about group projects. It's basically like the same as workplace.
Okay. Oh my God, there's so much things I want to say. First of all, like, so I never worked before, so I'm just gonna talk about work projects, the school projects at my school. Everyone gets usually it's all or nothing with me. Like, either for the group project, if I'll have something too passionate about, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to freaking do this with the project, and I'll just be like, I'll either be that one person being like, oh my God, we gotta do this, or I'll be the person who just does bumfuck nothing until someone assigns me something. But then like I'll get it done. I just won't get it like you said. I won't get it on like your timeline. So like if it's like this giant group project where everyone has to write like a certain section, you'll see mine not get done at all. And you're gonna think I'm not gonna do it, but then like on the last minute, I'll do it. It gets done. It's just on my own time, and so it's very all or nothing. Like this happened more with me when I was like I was in elementary school. But when I do this, like if we were like doing a project or making a poster, I would want to make it about a certain topic, and I would keep on like making the entire group be, like probably annoyed at me because like why does this girl keep on to do this one topic? You know, I don't know.
That's interesting. I want to circle back to timelines because that's been mentioned twice now, and we all kind of mentioned a authoritative issue. I don't know if that resonates with everyone here. But I'm definitely curious as to if the timeline of somebody else only bothers us because it's their authority over us, so we don't like to follow it, and we just work at our own pace because it's not your timeline I'm on. I'm working on mine.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's it. I have no problem with authority figures so long as what they are telling me is reasonable and logical and all. But, I work for the federal government. I work for the federal government, and there is such, some of the decisions that are made and the way they do things it's like unbelievably bureaucratic, and sometimes I don't even ask permission. I'll just do what I think needs to be done. And you know what they say, right? Just do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Bureaucratic or whatever you pronounce, bureaucracy or whatever, that annoys the shit out of me. Why do we have to do all these damn loops? Why can't we just do freaking? It's so easy, not that deep. Like there's like limitations and extra inefficient garbage for no reason. Parental
advisory on this episode just because of Sally.
Huh? What? I didn't hear what you said.
I said we need a parental advisory on this episode just because.
We don't need a parental advisory. I can handle it.
I believe it.
No, I just mean your choice of language throughout this. This is the most I've heard you cuss in any of the panels.
What do you mean? I don't want to cuss. Like you're not. It's not like you're younger than me.
I'd like to tell a story here because there is a cuss word in it, but it's not because I said it. It's because my boss said it. So it's actually part of the story. So when I was working, we had these cubicles and all. Now, the whole workplace is changing, so I'm not in a cubicle. But when I was there, it was a big office and all. And of course, I'm an ESFP, so I'm a clown. I'm always doing voice impersonations and pranks on everybody and, just talking and laughing. But here's the thing. I was always known to be the most productive person on staff. So I'll never forget. So every time my boss would come in, he would always catch me just goofing off. It's true. I would be laughing and all that. So finally, one day he came in and he was perplexed. He goes, "Pete, I don't get it." He goes, "Every time I come in here, you're fucking around, yet you're the most productive person on our staff." I goes, "I don't get it. How do you do it?" And that's exactly how it is for me. If I don't have the fun interjected into work, I can't possibly be productive. I kid you not, I play games during the workday. I'm going to admit it. And then I'll take a 15-minute break. I'll play something on my phone, and then I get back to work and I feel refreshed. That's how I work.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
There's a flip side to that, and it's being a little more serious and structured at home. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but it's like I'm a clown at work, then I'm serious at home. Like it's weird. It's almost like I don't change faces the way a lot of people do. Like I'm I still like, to structure my time at home, like from 8 to 9, I'm watering the lawn. Then from 9 to 10, I'm doing a workout. Then from 10 to 11, I'm going to do this. And then I'll have free time. But yet at work, where I'm supposed to have that structure, I rebel against it.
Yes, yes.
And
exactly.
I would say particularly when it comes to authority, the issue for me is double standards. If the boss says, "Hey, guess what you're doing today? You're shoveling shit, but I'm going to be right by your side," I'm just going to say, "Let me get changed and let's go." But I have a problem with someone who would have a problem with me spending some work time doing this, even though my obligations are done, who themselves has been working from home for a whole year. And I've seen parties and people coming and going during work hours. But then they would turn around and tell me I can't do that very same thing they're doing. even worse. The double standards part, I think that's number one on my list of pet peeves. And that goes in the workplace to even in relationships. You know, I know we're not talking about relationships, but it's just like, you know, the girlfriend who says, oh, well, I could go out with my friends, but I don't like your friend, so you can't go out with him. You're going out with him again? And then it gets weird. It's like, hey, I don't like your friends any more than you like mine. It's either all go or no go, you know? Like,
exactly.
So, yeah, I think double standards is the glue that holds all this stuff about timelines, authority, red tape, the whole thing. You know, I can do anything as long as you're doing it with me, but don't hold me to standards that you made up arbitrarily that you yourself don't even follow.
I'm going to say wholehearted. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I said I couldn't have said it any better myself. I totally agree.
Well, thanks.
Like, it's so annoying. Like, how the heck are you going to tell me that I can't do this when you're going to do it 2 seconds later? Like,
well, and you know, a political thing, that's where, you know, the mask wearing stuff's such a big deal, because people see a lot of the same people, regardless of your political party, you know, you see them making mandates. You know, like in my state, the governor's made all these mandates about closing restaurants in California, but then you see him out eating at one, you know, that's not cool, you know, and I'm a Democrat and I'm a fan of the governor, but that particular thing rubs me the wrong way.
A lot of red tape in organizations is it doesn't really have a reason for being there. And it kind of prevents action when you need to act. So the SE-DOM will see, oh, you have to do this right away for the most immediate impact or for things to work out. But then the red tape prevents you. So sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and do the action. And then, like Peter said, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Well, I see red tape everywhere. Like, with like sometimes it can be the small things, like why can't we go out to eat or today, or for like assuming, you know, before the pandemic and stuff. Like, I'd be around people who would be like, oh, but I didn't do this yet, or I have to, or did you do your chores yet from 2 weeks ago, and bring up like the past a million times, and then and bring up every single reason on the planet why we can't go out. And it's like, well, you know what? How I see it is we have a free freaking Sunday and there's nothing to do. We have enough money. Why can't we just go and freaking eat out? What is all this extra junk that's not relevant? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, you guys, if you see my eyes wandering around, it's because I got to post a couple emails so that they think I'm working. Just
so dovetailing off what everybody was saying, I think anything that I see as a limitation to my freedom or wanting from, you know, so I can't accomplish what I want to accomplish drives me insane. I can't stand it. Like, here's a classic example. So I'll go to a company. Sometimes I have to do what's called a drop-in visit because nobody answers their phone nowadays. So you do a drop-in visit. Receptionist tells you, no, you can't see with an appointment. I literally saw the guy I was supposed to see right behind like a glass partition there. I said, he's right there. And that feeling of I just wanted to go straight to that office and just, and it's like boggles my mind. You're preventing me from getting there. That's another top pet peeve of mine. It's people getting in the way of me wanting to do something.
I have a story about this, that's my thing with appointments. That's why I hate places with appointments. Like, they could be a freaking empty freaking salon, and all the workers are just standing by, and they got all their supplies ready and stuff. And I'm okay. I can walk right. It's even worse when I'm in a hurry and you get it done. And so it's like, okay, so guess what? We have all the resources here. Y'all are on standby. You're not even busy. And now I can't do it because he said I had to set an appointment. There's no reason. This is our limit. That doesn't have to be here. It doesn't exist. There's nothing standing in our way except this crap ass red tape. Like, I just know. Like, I don't know why it's just no reason.
Yeah.
more perspective on some of that, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But like, I've talked to my therapist about her appointments and stuff sometimes, and even if she gets one canceled, it's not like she'll book in somebody for that slot, because mentally, the energy, she's not an ESFP, right? And so she has planned her day around the clients that she knows are going to be taxing, or
Right.
like where she's going to be within like mental space for herself within that. And so if that appointment gets canceled, she's already put in the work for that appointment pre-hand. So to fill it with somebody else that just throws her off is super hard for her. So she has to stick to appointments.
Okay, I understand that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't to me. I'm sorry. It doesn't. I'm agreeing with Sally. I'm sorry, John. I just don't.
I know dang well that it would still annoy me that if I saw that right in front of me happening, and then it just wouldn't get. But I understand like the process behind that, because I'm not trying to evade on anyone's stuff. Because if someone's exhausted, they're gonna be exhausted,
I think that's a good segue for boundaries. Where do you guys stand on boundaries, and how good are you at setting them and complying to them?
Let me start. I suck at boundaries. If we were going to say what our problem in the workplace is, I don't know any better. I joke with my boss, and she's like, "Hey, you can't do that. I'm your boss." And I'm like, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry." I honestly think it's something I need some help with. And I don't know if it's personality type only or if there's other stuff involved with it, but I just don't have proper boundaries. I know a little bit about, obviously I know not to take off my clothes on a tour or something. I mean, I'm not psycho or something, but I have a real hard time opening up and telling people more than they asked or needed to know, and so a lot of times people think I'm lying just because I'm talking too much and giving them too much details about why I'm going to not be able to fulfill an obligation or something. And people don't seem to appreciate it. It's like they'd rather me just say yes, no, and be like real turt and short, like a ESTJ or something, and so my mom told me some good advice. She said to pretend I'm Mr. Spock on Star Trek, and I'll think that I'm a robot, or pretend I'm Data on the newer one, but everyone else will think I'm more normal now if I do that. So it's a losing battle, but I had to get that out. So
that's really interesting. For me, boundaries don't exist unless I respect unless I intentionally, consciously set them with someone that I have set in my mind that I respect and I really like. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting at this dinner table, with a bunch of random people that I'm just sitting at some sort of dinner table, and my mom shoots me these dirty glares across the table because I've made a dirty joke or something, or a fart joke. I guess I'm just I'm gonna share what I feel like I'm gonna share. Right? And if people like it, which they usually do, actually, they usually laugh at it, right? But then my mom's like, no, it's inappropriate. Inappropriateness, it doesn't matter to me unless for example, it happened just now. I'm not I don't, because I really respect you, Joyce and Peter and John and Shane. I'm not gonna cuss if you don't want me to cuss, because I'll make sure and I won't overstep y'all's boundaries, because I consciously put in my mind that I like and respect you, so I'm gonna make it so that I don't overstep it. But then if I don't do that, it's like I'm gonna go up to this stranger at a coffee table and I'm gonna share my entire life story, whether they like it or not. Say unless they literally just up and leave. I just want to share my stuff, Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say something. So my approach in general in life is I really am a live and let live person. So I don't want anybody telling me what to do, and I certainly will leave anyone alone. But Shane, what you were saying earlier, right? Like having a girlfriend or somebody who's saying, well, you can't hang out with those friends or whatever. Once they cross that line to me, then I will hit back, finding the inconsistency of it. But for the most part, if somebody's not interfering with what I want to do, I'll leave them alone. And that it's just a generally accepted boundary to me. I'll leave you alone.
Agreed.
Yeah, exact same with me.
Totally relate to that. If you Like that's why if I ever, like, if I'm not interested in a relationship, but if I ever get into a relationship, you can't even tell it's a relationship because I'm not putting any restrictions on you. I don't put restrictions on people. It's not my thing. Just do your own thing. Let me do my own thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. So there's a point Shane mentioned that I wanted to piggyback off of, and it was talking to your boss like they're your friend. And so like Personality Hacker, they talk about how feelers, they kind of are relational, so they like to talk to people like it's human on human. Whereas with thinkers, they're more likely like, to separate a part of themselves for business and a part of themselves for themselves.
And bosses are almost always thinkers for whatever reason.
Oh my god, that's actually accurate. Because every time, like my parents would watch me like talk to, like, at restaurants, like the waiters come up and they're like, "How are you doing?" Like it's supposed to be like, "Oh, good" and stuff. But sometimes I'll like have a conversation with them, and then my parent, like my family member who's a thinker, sees that and goes, "What the heck? Why are you like? They're in business mode. You're not supposed to like." They see it as separated, but for me, I don't see that separation. I'm just like, "Yo, you're another person. What's up? You're nice too." So I'll talk.
Definitely a feeler thing. Like my INFP friend, he was getting customer service for his laptop, and while he was talking to the person online, he treated it like it was like a human or a friend he would meet in general. And he was like, "Hey," and then talking and joking as if it were a friend.
Yeah.
And it's less likely for a thinker to like do that just casually, whereas feelers are more likely to just engage with the emotion, I don't know, people as on a personal level, even if it's just a business exchange. Yeah. But disclaimer, that might not be true all across the board, but that's like, I don't want to like broad stroke. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's accurate for me at least. So you can rest assured that that's true for at least one person.
I think this kind of goes back to that panel we did where we were talking about like how we introduce ourselves to people and how we like vet people, if you will. And so it's almost like we overshare. We kind of give everything, and people instantly feel like they're intimately connected with us, where we're in the stance of like, no, dude, like we just met. I'm just trying to see where you're at and how you stand on things. And so to other people, it seems like we're crossing boundaries, or we're being a little overly intimate. But for us, it's just part of the vetting process. It's just part of like how we get to know people and how far they're willing to go with us versus a standard anybody else.
Yes, well said.
I like to find common ground with people. That's how I operate. Whatever I can find, I'll just springboard from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it instantly resonates with some people. Like it's like that scene in Step Brothers where they go, "Did we just become best friends?" I get that a lot. But sadly to say, other people find it just really off-putting and weird, like too touchy-feely for them or something. And they don't trust it. They think it's not genuine.
Oh my god, that's like it's so true, because I'm a kind of person to send friend requests to everyone, and I've lost count of how many people who don't accept my friend request but go into my DMs and chew me out for sending them a friend request. Like, oops. Well, that's that.
Yeah, I've met some people in person and in online, and online it's usually easier, but in person, a lot of times I'll request someone on Facebook or something, and it's like, yeah, cool, and they immediately come back. But then a lot of people just think it's weird. They're like, well, I guess I'm never really on it, and it's just like, God, dude, I didn't ask for your hand in marriage or something,
Right?
But yeah, it just makes me feel weird just for being nice. I didn't even really care that much about being their friend anyway. I just thought it would be a nice thing,
They act like you just asked for their firstborn child, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's just whatever. I don't want to get on a tangent, but There's a lot of weird stuff online.
Mhm.
That's why I like these things, because you get to see who someone really is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I used to just think it was with INFJs, but with all the types, there's people who claim a type who are clearly not that type, but we just kind of roll along with it, you know, and don't want to rock their boat. There's always some smart ass ENTP who comes along who calls it out. But
I see it so much. I'll see that, but then I'm like, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because typology is a personal blah. And then I just see them charging in. I'm like, ooh, and then it's like this entire freaking text scrolling battle.
One more thing about boundaries. And you always see these in the MBTI tests if you take them online. They talk about like interruptions at work. I'll be honest, it's like I almost welcome them. It's like if somebody comes around the office just wanting to talk and all. Oddly enough, I mean, there's times when I'm really working and I don't want to be disturbed. In that case, I'll just pretend like I'm on a phone call, but I do a lot. But anyway, I actually welcome people want to talk and all that. I'll stop what I'm doing. And I know I have work to do, but I honestly don't mind. I actually need the breather. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I kind of like it.
it depends on what John was saying about starting something on Saturday night. If I'm on one of those missions, I don't like the interruption at all.
Yes.
But up until that point, I welcome it.
Yeah, right.
I remember one time I had this giant math project that I put the last day to do. And from that point I was just hyper focused on that, and I was like, and I don't even know what got into me, but I was like super rude to everyone who tried to talk to me. I'm like, no, I'm doing this right now. What the hell? But otherwise it's like I totally want to just someone walk over me while I'm doing work. I'm like, cool, I didn't want to do this anyways. What's up?
Yeah, so when you're in TE mode, you want to keep doing it until it's finished. But when not in that mode, you welcome distractions and interruptions. And so one of the definitions of perceiver is they're good with distractions and interruptions. So they are more adaptable and flexible, and what that causes is it's an easier time with things that come in from left field. It's easier for them to adapt. Yeah.
Especially if it's something I enjoy doing. So if I'm studying for a test, and then they're like, "Do you want to go? You want to go eat out? You want to go eat out with my friends?" I'm like, "There's no way I'm just gonna say no and keep studying, because even if I do, I'm not gonna stop thinking about it. I'm gonna just want to go out there anyway."
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious about TE in general, and it goes back to coming into typology and thinking maybe I was an ESTP. And one of the reasons I thought I was an ESTP is because I thought I hated TE, because my way of defining TE was all that red tape that all of us seem to actually push against. Now that I realize that TE is better defined, if you could define it in one word, it'd be pragmatism, maybe. Understood in that sense, then certainly I don't hate TE. I embrace it. I like it. I love it. You know, I love making lists of things to do, and I hold myself to that list and stuff. But which one is it? Is it that red tape that we hate, or is it our creative and ingenious ways of finding our way around that red tape? That's what I'd like your guys' thoughts on. Or is it both?
That's not it. And my thoughts on this is maybe it could be both, depending on what the motivation is. Like I think TE could play into both, but for me, it's like I have a story that might help. One time, there was a hole in my wall, and like in my room and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, no, a hole in my to fix it, like I don't want to go through the red tape of hiring someone, paying, and doing paperwork and all that trash. So I just grabbed a lot of toilet paper and stuck it in the hole, and that was fixed. But then one time my mom found it, and she was actually like, she was upset about it because she didn't feel the same way that I did about the toilet paper. Like, I saw it as, you know what? Guess what? When the toilet paper's in the hole, there's no longer a hole. You know, it's really simple. But she sees it as no, we need to take care of it. It needs to be. We need to do the paperwork. We need to do this. And I don't know. I'm wondering about her type. She might. I'm wondering if she might be like an ENTJ or something, with maybe like a different manifestation of TE. Because coming back to your question, I feel like it could be like a certain. It could depend on the person or the placement of TE or whatever. But I feel like it might be. It could be both. It could manifest both. That's just my take on it.
Cool. Thanks.
Hopefully that helped a little bit.
Oh yeah, it does. Do you guys use list of things to do at work? I mean, I do most of the time, but sometimes I forget, or sometimes I'm too rushed and I don't make one. But usually I have a list that I make and I tick things off the list, and
Yeah, I
it
do
helps.
that, but I start with 2 things and then I get distracted and I do 3 other things and then I put that on the list and then I put check marks next to them as it comes along, and it gives me a sense of productivity. So
Yeah, it feels good to put check marks on there. It makes it look like you're doing progress. I only do lists when it's like a giant workload and I'm gonna get screwed. Like if it's a giant workload that's due at midnight, then I'll have a list of like I have like my tabs lined up on the order of things that I need to do, and then I can just and to check it off. I close the tab and it's satisfying.
I think that stereotypical like P thing where it's all organized in your head versus on the outside. I don't make lists unless I am forced to. Or other staff that I have here, people that I work with, they'll be like, I've built this gym in the last 3 months. I don't know how many times we've talked about that in other channels, but like literally took it upon myself to build this gym, and I've done it in 3 months. And I still have little things to do before January 1st. But like I've got that list in my head of things that I needed to do. Like tonight, right before I was on this call, I was cutting mats that needed to fit in the back room. But like I just know what I need to get done and I start working on it. And it confuses other people because to them it looks like I have no direction. I'm going all different directions at all times, just doing things. And they're like, can we put it down in a list so I can see what you're getting done? That way it doesn't just look like chaos to me. Because to me it doesn't look like chaos, but to everybody around me, again, freight train. Like I'm just going.
I relate to that so much. When I had a tutor, they wanted me to sit down and write down everything I did. They wanted me to have a planner. They wanted me to have a calendar, and I refused it. And I just didn't catch on to that because like I get my stuff done, but like it's like I said, it's not chaotic to me because I keep it like I have a note of it and stuff. But if I don't write down the list, they think I'm not doing anything, or they think I'm messing around.
You know, it's interesting what you said. I tend to do that to myself. Like, I wanted to get back to my high school weight, and I was about maybe 20 pounds over that. This was a couple of years ago. And I found that the only way I could actually structure a workout that actually worked was simply to be more active and to start walking. And I used a step counter on my Samsung phone to do that. Next thing you know, I became more obsessed with the steps and did I get my 20,000 in today or not, you know? I cared more about that than the number on the scale. And because of that, like the TE wall of Babel got higher and higher until I had to just tear it all down. And now I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just only looking at the scale and you know, I do a workout every day and try to have an active lifestyle. But the point I'm making is that maybe it's having TE in that third slot. We were kind of cool and creative with it, but we are a little bit childish with it. And so we get ahead of ourselves, and then I end up building up structures that I have to tear down because my own structure became too constrictive. Ironic, but yeah. I don't know if anyone else here has done that, but I have that issue.
I probably had a similar experience when I was playing Pokemon Go, where I just I wanted to get like this certain amount of experience to level up every single day. But then it got to the point where you can't actually do that every single day, and I got really frustrated when we couldn't go out and get that same amount of experience. And so
Pokemon becomes a job, right?
Oh yeah, it does. And it's like I have to go do this now. Exactly.
So I want to add something because this is relevant to my work. I do a lot of training of new people on board, and we have a manual that's probably that thick of procedures on how you have to train a person. I've been doing it. I've been doing so long that all those steps are in my mind, and I refuse to go by the book. I close that book, and I will tell my trainee, you will learn it the real life way. It's not going to be, a structure where chapter by chapter, but we will cover everything in that manual by the time that we're done training. So, I don't, it's not that I hate structure. It has a value, but I just feel so bound by it. I don't like it. And like you said, Shane, if I had to follow like a workout routine or a diet where, you measure your food on a scale, that would feel so restrictive to me. I could never do that. I'll just think of it in a general sense. Okay, did I get, 5 servings of vegetables today or whatever? Generally speaking, I would have that in my mind, but not on paper. I can't function that way.
Yeah, it's just like it's just not the same. Like it doesn't feel good when it's like written down. Like a lot of the time when I was younger, my parents would try to get me to like write down say like a routine I had to do every day, and I always get my like ass chewed out for not following that. So I do my own like in a general sense. Did I at least clean something today? Did I not spill Coca-Cola over the carpet this time? Like just like that. Not exactly written on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like you guys are anti-routine because when you do something the same way every time, it starts to feel like a chore, and it starts to lose some value as well. Like with my mom, she doesn't like to tell me a recipe. She likes to show me. So she's like, you have to watch me cook it, or I have to show you, or we have to do it for you to get it. Yeah.
On that point, I was just going to say, because of my college training, I've been trained to just take notes for everything, and it's counterproductive for my personality type. Like I would learn way better the way Peter does it than the way I think I'm supposed to do it, which is to take notes and learn out of a book. And ironically enough, it was an ISTJ boss that taught me that, who told me, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. You're taking notes. Just learn it in real life. And I'm like, God, I'm all about real life. I can't believe it. So I caught myself, messed up. And now I'm more true to myself and my real learning style.
I can only speak to my experience. I can't really speak to anybody else's, but I think I've found over time that I highly value experience over research. And I've got a lot of friends that are in the medical field and medical professionals, and they've even gone, they've done the med school thing and go in to meet with a head surgeon, and they like, how do you want to approach this? The head surgeon who's been tenured and sitting there has done the same surgery 1,000 times, already knows his approach and his plan of action because he's experienced it. And the new med student is like, well, the book says that if we X, Y, and Z, and the surgeon usually just kind of like, okay, like, we'll see how that works out. I've already played this game, but yeah, sure, let's do it the way that it's been taught in your book. And so I feel like when I vet people, I go based on their life experiences and not their the title behind their name or their research. I want to see what you've done, not what you know. I do the same thing with MBTI though. I have so much more respect when I see people who are actively doing the things to integrate themselves rather than the people that can spew the information, but when I get to peek into their personal life, they have not grown at all. And I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it gets really, if you get too deep into like the research aspect, you don't go into real life about it, it becomes 100% utterly useful. I see this a lot in socionic circles where I can see these giant, like as far as the eye can see, you can get a giant 32-inch monitor and see just text everywhere. But then you try to apply it in real life and you just can't, or it doesn't work. I've seen that.
That's what I like about these meetings is it's not quite the same as being in real life, but it's pretty close. It's a lot better than Facebook barbs back and forth.
Yeah. My God, it's a dream come true for me, actually. Like, these meetings are exactly what I needed for MBTI, because it's a lot of just talking about it, but then actually seeing it manifest in real life is what really sets the passion in stone for me.
So, Joyce, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You talk about your mom and how, like, instead of giving you a recipe, you have to, like, experience it. I live for that. Like, please teach me and make me use my hands, because that's how I'm going to learn. You can show me the text 1,000 times. But I am curious, what do you prefer? Would you prefer the experience of doing it, or just seeing the recipe and learning it that way?
I prefer the recipe. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest here too. I want to look at the recipe so that because I want to look because when it comes out of the oven, I want it to be I don't want it to be a literal piece of charcoal, because I'm looking forward to eating it. So I want it to actually turn out good. So I'm gonna make sure, like, that's the only time I read instructions, is when I want the thing to turn out good, because I know if I go in there just without the recipe, I know it's gonna be a burnt piece of charcoal. So and that's the same thing with, like, same thing with hair dye. I'm not just gonna go out and not read the instructions, because I don't want to literally I don't want to burn all my hair off. But it depends so much. If it actually isn't important to me, then I won't read the instructions as much. Like with my ring light, I didn't I've looked at the instructions and said these aren't helpful and just figured it out myself. And so it totally depends. It depends.
Yeah.
Recipes are.
Oh, I was just going to say, so, I like having that it's there. I don't look at it, maybe, but I like knowing that I have a recipe that I can fall back on if I need it.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, to me, it's a guideline. A recipe, so I'll look at it. If it has like a tablespoon of oregano, I'll say, no way, I hate oregano. I'll put a quarter, and I'll just adjust it accordingly.
Oh yeah, that's totally true. If I like cheese or something, I'm not just gonna if I see a recipe, it's like only use this much cheese. I'm gonna put more cheese because I like that.
Yeah.
Put more.
Please, Joyce.
So the reason why I like the recipe is because when my mom tells me that, it has to be the day where we're cooking the recipe, and I never know when she's feeling like she wants to cook that dish. And so I'm like, I never know when I'm going to learn when to cook this dish, because it depends on how she feels that day. And that's the specific reason why I want the recipe, so I can do it when I want. Not it makes me kind of unnerved waiting for her to feel ready to teach me. She doesn't have a schedule to teach me. It just is in the moment if she feels like it.
Right.
And to me, there doesn't seem to be a stable way to learn this thing, because I'm not sure when she's going to teach me. So then I get anxious waiting for her to teach me. So yeah, but when I'm cooking, I do what Pete and Sally do. If I don't like a certain item on the recipe, I'm pretty good with calibrating and tasting as I go. But I'm not good with waiting for a plan to happen. So basically, I become unsettled when I'm not sure when something is going to happen, if that makes any sense. So that's why. And so next question. Oh wait, Pete, you had something you want to say. I'll let you say.
Oh no, go ahead. I actually forgot what I was going to say. So yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, cool.
But
yeah. So
I wanted to give you all an example. I like giving examples to stuff when I say stuff. I just thought of this. My family wanted me to make this vegetable cake, and I'm and my personal opinion on vegetable cakes, it's just my opinion. Vegetables don't belong in cakes. If I'm gonna have a cake, I'm here to eat a freaking sweet ass cake. So the recipe called for 1/3 zucchini and shit, but I put a little tiny bit less, a little bit less, and the cake turned out fine. It turned out less nasty because there was less vegetables in there. It's just
wait. In half a mile, turn right.
Pete,
Los Angeles skyline.
Did you
In
try
half
to
a mile?
the GPS, Peter?
Yes. Hey Shane, your GPS is talking to you. You missed it.
Yeah, I heard that, but I just whatever. But see, that's LA.
Yeah.
Where are the rest of you guys from again? Or where do you live?
Miami.
Miami. Cool.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Cool. I love the St. Louis Blues jerseys. I want to get one just to wear it around.
Who cares about the
Are you in
sport?
the city? Are you in the city? Is that City Lights?
I'm past right now. I'm on the 10 going east.
What you?
Yeah, if you're not lead, don't try this at home.
What are you showing on the camera right now is what gives me life. I love seeing that. Like when I'm driving, like I don't drive, but like when someone's driving me and I see like those lights.
Yeah, Staples Center's right down there, and that building over there would be cool to work at, but I'd have a pay cut if I did, so never mind that.
Well, I love cities. Like
so,
that's just awesome.
Well, thanks for not putting me down for having my phone on while I drive. I appreciate it.
Live and let live. That's what I say.
Exactly. Like,
if he wants to do it.
It's awesome, actually. It's beautiful. Thank you for that. Made my night, really. That you showed me that.
Oh,
you showed us that.
Yay! Thanks. I'm glad it was a fun night.
I find it funny because certain personality types are just like multitaskers. It's just like who we are. So I don't know that I ever, and I don't know that I should say it, but I'm going to. I don't know that I ever drive anywhere without being on a FaceTime call or scrolling through Facebook or reading an article about something. Like I'm always doing something else while I'm driving.
Oh, I know. I felt that. Like for me, that's with silence. I cannot stand silence. So I'll have like if I'm doing something or like doing my hair, I have to have like a Twitch stream or something like that in the background. Yeah. I can't stand silence or have K-pop. I can't take a shower in silence. It's actually to the point where it's awkward and painful for me to just do that stuff without music.
Do any of you guys doodle when someone's talking to you and you really are listening, but they think you're not?
Yeah,
that happens to me a lot.
Yep.
So it's another one of those things we do. Like we're so used to multitasking that we feel uncomfortable if we're not doing it.
See, for me, it's not so much the multitasking as I'll be doing a task and then a thought comes to my mind about, oh, I needed to make that call. I will stop what I'm doing and attend to the thing that just popped in my head. So I'm doing like maybe 5 things concurrently, but I'm getting them all done pretty much at the same time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, does it happen to anyone else that sometimes like one task will override the other? Because like, you know, I said doodle when someone's talking to you. Sometimes I'll be scrolling on Instagram and stuff or whatever while someone's talking to me. I'll be listening, right? But then something catches my eye on my phone and I'm like hyper focusing on that, and then like the other person just tuned out. And like I was trying to do that. It just caught my eye, and like when something catches my eye like that, I just start focusing on it, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, I'm not the only one.
No.
Yeah. Peter mentioned how, you know, when a thought comes into your mind, you have the immediate impulse to act on it and to do something with it. So you end up, when you have multiple thoughts in your head, you start to do multiple things to get those done. Yeah.
I have to go. My family just showed up. Like the doorbell. I have to go get the door. Like, okay, I'm trying to be quick. I'll try to come back. See ya.
That happens to me all the time. So before we go, I've kind of already shared what goes wrong for me at work, but Joyce brought up what do we bring to the workplace? You know, what do we have at the workplace? And that, you know, mine is being too personal with bosses who I should revere like kings and queens, I guess. And the other thing would probably be that, you know, I can get a little defensive. I get defensive if I like the way I did something and people criticize it. And I'm saying, hey, it worked. If it worked, why do you have a problem with it? Just because I didn't do it the same way you would have did it. And then I would say last but not least, I forgot what I was going to say. So, oh well.
I'm
I'll
gonna.
let someone else chime in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
You go, John. Yeah.
I want to tag on to that. I think I get defensive when I haven't thought something through yet. If it just feels right and like all of the stars are aligning and this is the direction I've chosen to go, I usually do so. And I would say 99% of the time it pans out pretty well. But when people start questioning me, like, why did you make that decision? What are the aspects of this that you're like, they start pushing and I'm like, that's when I get defensive.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like, yeah, I think, and over time I've learned to start thinking things through so that I can explain them as I go. But like, I would say a couple of years ago, even I would just go.
Yeah.
Okay.
One
Cool
of
deal.
the things I've always read in the description for ESFP was that we're very bold, and that is something I definitely agree with, especially in the workplace, because we have so many meetings. And remember, I was talking about bureaucracy, and just when I see something that's just it just doesn't make sense. I during a meeting, I will literally be the only one who speaks up. There could be a room full of like maybe a couple of dozen of people. They're all thinking the same thing, but nobody's got the guts to say it. And I'm always the one who will raise my hand or just chime right in and say, I had a question about this. This doesn't really make sense. It doesn't line up. And then all of a sudden you hear everybody on the meeting go, yeah. But nobody had the guts to say it. So I feel like I'm always the bold one who will, has the guts to say it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Interesting. And so what is a misunderstanding other people have of you in the workplace?
Ooh. I think for me, they sometimes take my humor the wrong way.
Mhm.
Like my boss asked if someone was bringing back the keys who we were evicting, and I told her I already got the keys from her about 5 minutes ago, and then she said in caps, "Oh my God, yes, Shane." And then I wrote back, "That's what she." Never mind. And she's like, "Shane!" with exclamation points, like I was so inappropriate, and like she didn't say anything after that, but like I was just gonna say that's what she said, but I didn't even finish saying it. I cut myself off and said never mind, but it's like that's the kind of boundary thing, and like she probably thinks I was like flirting with her or something, or like trying to make some innuendo, and I wasn't. And I was just it just came in my mind. I typed it without thinking really. But now I'll try to be more formal and treat her like the robot drone that she wants me to be a little more. So you can detect a little aggression in my voice. But yeah, so that's the time I was misunderstood. I don't know in which way, but I didn't mean anything by it, but whatever. Maybe you guys are sitting there going, damn, that guy's crazy. I wouldn't have said that, but I don't know.
No,
I agree.
As a correction, like if somebody was like, "John," I'd be like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like, I don't think I would backpedal at all. I'd be like, yeah, no, that's what she said. Like, okay.
Good. All right. So it's not just me. Yeah. So I think as a whole, our type, we're outgoing, fun people. And as a result, we're going to step on some toes that we didn't mean to sometimes, and people are going to think we meant something deeper or more seriously than we in fact really meant it. And that's something we need to be aware of, in order to grow in the workplace.
Shane, would you say your Enneagram was?
3 wing 2, but I always score high on 7 and 8 also, but 3 is always in front.
Mm-hmm. Like me.
I
Same
noticed.
same.
Yeah, same as you. But Don, I noticed you're an 8 wing 7, so I bet you've gotten that same thing as me, that people think you're an ESTP instead sometimes because of the 8. The 8 has makes a different flavor than the 7, but maybe I'm wrong.
Just a slightly more aggressive.
Yeah, no, has people mistyped you before?
I don't think so. That's a Joyce. What do you think? Like when you first met me, did you say ESFP immediately?
Yeah, I was like ESFP immediately for you.
Cool. Yay.
Yeah, yay.
Well, that's good because, I went through a long, difficult hassle of getting typed by professionals and stuff. And ESTP kind of worked, but there was something not right about it. There was like one little part that didn't fit. And now now that I'm settled once and for all in my type, like it feels a lot better. Like some things that didn't make sense before, it all comes together and makes sense now.
Yep.
Interesting.
Pretty cool. What about you, Peter? Did you ever have a different type or thought you were a different type, or was it ESFP?
Yeah, I remember when I first took the tests, especially if they're testing for letters, I came out ESFJ. But then when I took the by function, I was off the charts SE and FI, very high on FI. So that's how I knew for sure the ESFJ, because it didn't resonate. The ESFJ sounded like a caregiver, and it's not that I don't care about people, but I've known ESFJs, and they're really into caring for people, even animals. Like they feel like everyone's their responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. But back to the workplace, I think, and I think if you ask anybody, they'd always say, "Yeah, I'm a hardworking." If you ask any MBTI type whether they're hardworking, but I think the ESFPs are extremely hardworking, almost to the point where we're machines. Remember we were talking about how we kind of almost steamroll forward, and I think the misunderstanding, especially from management, is they think it comes so easy to me that they can assign me more work. And this is where sometimes I don't give boundaries. I'll just take more work. I just keep taking work, and I love being productive. So that's where I think I'm a little misunderstood, and I think I can maybe, have a little burnout sometimes, and I don't maybe speak up about it. I just want to appear strong,
Yeah, me too. I would relate to that in not taking a day off. Like
Right.
my hip, or it's like a combination of hip and back. I think it's a hip flexor. Anyway, it hurt. There's no way I should have gone to work today, but it's like, oh, if I call in sick, they're gonna think I'm weak, or they're gonna think I'm lying and taking a day off just for nothing. And so it's like I just power through it, maybe to a fault.
Right.
Absolutely to a fault, actually. And so tomorrow, this whole time in the back of my head during our discussion, I've been thinking, okay, man, I've been in pain this whole discussion. I'm thinking I just got to call in tomorrow and tell them I need a day of rest, because I can't imagine having to talk to people and be, hi, how do you like this apartment? No, man, fuck that. I'm just going to be like, dude, take it or not, like, do you like the place? Here's where to sign.
Yeah. Shane, I want to piggyback off something you said earlier, because you were mentioning something about like how sometimes at home it's like you're more serious, yet at work you can be a little more jovial and joking. I totally agree with that.
Really cool.
Well, I'm going to give you a little twist on that, though, is that I feel that, and this is, I guess, like an ESFP thing. I love kind of performing for people, and people at work are a great audience, because family, they see you all the time. It's odd. I can make so many people laugh, but when I get with my family, like my wife and my kids and all, it's like, oh, there goes dad again. I cease to be funny. And so I kind of shut down. But then you put me in a room of people who I don't really know that well, or, coworkers. It's not like you're living with them. I want to perform. I want to say jokes all the time and do impressions and things like that. It's well received, and they really laugh. So, and people say, stop encouraging him, So.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, and I can relate to that. I mean, like the rest of you, I like to play at home too. It's just I find myself, keeping score on fun games or something that I don't really need to, or making sure I do my chores before playing, whereas at work it's the exact opposite. I do what I want, then catch up later.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately I'm pretty much the same wherever I go. So that makes me a clown at work and too serious at home. But I'm still me in both arenas. I don't switch faces as much as some other types, I think.
Right.
I feel like this is also a lesson in positive reinforcement. You'll get more of the behaviors that you positively reinforce. So like
Yep.
if any ESFP gets more laughter from their coworkers, they're going to perform more for their coworkers. Yeah. Yeah. And so I was wondering,
right. And then the same joke that made the whole room blow up at home, it's just like, you need to grow up. And it's like, okay. And then I just retreat back to quietness.
Yeah. And so I was wondering, what is everyone's sense of humor here? How would you describe your sense of humor?
I love making fun of people. I'll imitate my coworkers and just, work off their foibles and all that, like in a slapstick way. That's my, like, even satire. I love watching like Saturday Night Live when they're, impersonating the president and all, and just making those who take themselves so seriously, poking fun at them. That's how I would describe my sense of humor.
Thanks for putting me back in, Joyce. I heard the first part and the last part, Peter, and I agree with it. But I think we're more sensitive most when we make fun of people. I don't hit below the belt. Like I won't call a fat person fat or something like that. Like a ESFP would, or a ESTJ or ENTJ for that matter. But I like to make little.
Yeah, I do it in good nature. Yeah, I never do it in a mean way, and I really don't like sarcasm. I hate sarcasm. I know that's most people's go-to sense of humor, but I don't know why. Because people get away with saying things that they normally wouldn't get away with. So.
Right. You guys, since I'm home and I'm having audio difficulty and I'm tired and in pain, that's going to be the 3 strikes and I'm out.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to have a better conclusion, but I need to go take a hot shower and rest and then clock out. Don't tell anyone. Anyway, this is great. Thank you all. And thanks, Joyce, especially for coming back to us so often. And I hope we get together again soon.
Later,
Shane. Thank you for being so open, honest, and candid. We'll see you around. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye, you guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
And then there were 2.
Yeah. Sense of humor. I agree. I think I enjoy calling people out in like a funny way.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it when people call me out as well. It's almost like my vetting process. Like, can you play here? Because that's the fun part. Yeah. I think it gets me in trouble in relationships. Anybody I've ever like dated or gotten close to, that's kind of where we build our flirting off of. It's a very flirtatious, like making fun of each other constantly, like always calling each other out. But that's just like my baseline. And so at a certain point, usually the girlfriend or, counterpart is like, okay, when does this end? Like now it's starting to get really annoying. It's not fun anymore. It's not like, that's my baseline. Like play here or don't play. Like we're having a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does get me in trouble a little bit. But I also like being called out, like I said. So I don't know. That is the sense of humor. I do though, however, enjoy sarcasm because I read it so well. And so like I love to give it back also. And so the whole like no type of thing, like when they're like, oh, did you get a flat tire? No, I just let the air out because that's what it seemed like was a good idea.
Okay, yeah, I would do that. Yeah, I would say something like that. Yeah.
I think that's for me.
Because it illustrates the absurdity of such an obvious question. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. SE is so observant that like it can make quick-witted remarks, and it's fun to have someone build off of that.
Yeah.
So the unfortunate thing is, though, and I've been told a couple of times now, like, there are people that were like, I love having you as a friend. I would always love to have you as a friend, but a relationship would be very hard with you. And I'm just like, I can see that. Like,
They say that it's also like a
Deflect.
sign of wanting to avoid vulnerability too, like
Yeah.
making a lot of jokes.
Thanks, Joyce. Way to call out the 8 in me. Yes. No, it is 100% deflection. If I can find your weaknesses before you find mine, then I win. That's a fun game.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I want to ask you what my weaknesses are.
Joyce, I get so frustrated for you, and I know it's like that 8, that justice wing, you know, but like anytime you try to speak more than 1 or 2 times and you get like cut off by other people, and we're all guilty of it. Like every person in this panel so far has cut you off at least once. And in previous panels that I've done, like I've watched you get cut off, and I get so like defensive for you. I'm instantly
I know.
all right, guys, shut up. Oh.
But she has a way, and this is positive. She has a way of bringing people out and allowing them to speak. If you notice, it just flows so well because she doesn't try to overly control it. She's a good facilitator.
Indeed.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a nice cherry on the sundae today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so workplace. How do your Enneagram types show up in your work style?
Oh, absolutely. Being the 3, it's one of the most attractive things to me is success. Being successful at what I do, being able to achieve and go to a higher level it's like somewhat of like a drug for me. I like succeeding at things. I like winning. I like winning a lot at games. I love winning a game. Who doesn't? But I mean, there's some people who don't like competition. You know, I don't like it when it's cutthroat, but I like competing. I find it very fun, actually. You know?
That's so interesting. I mean, I like it. I like that description. For me, it has a lot less to do with success and a lot more with being right.
Interesting.
Like I could care less if it's going to succeed as long as I was right within the situation.
Oh, interesting. Now I see why no one would date you. Yeah, if you're always right all the time. You know.
I'm also the first to admit when I'm wrong, though. Like
right.
if you manage to spin my perspective, and that's a lot of internal work that I've had to do, you know, to understand other people's. Because I used to be 100% I'm right, you're wrong. Like I'm big, you're small. I'm smart, you're dumb, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Now it's very much like I want to hear out your perspective, and if you happen to turn me, like if you sway my perspective, I will admit it immediately. Like I have no problem with that.
You know, John, if I may make an observation, to me, the TE in you is very strong. That's just my observation. I don't know if Joyce would agree. And it would kind of jive with the fact that you're an 8. You know, I'm not saying you're an ESTJ, but or ENTJ, but you definitely have strong TE. That's for sure. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've just put in a lot of work. I've put in a lot of work on NI, and so
yeah.
I don't know how that shows up, but I guess now I know how that shows up.
I would also make the argument that your FI is pretty strong too, John. Like So in Personality Hacker, they talk about how with IPs who lead with FI or TI, their fixation is on being right. And so basically, if you're FI strong, you're going to have a fixation on being right.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that the 8ness might be a doubling down on FI as well. Your TE is very strong, but your FI is very strong as well. And to have these both strong would create that, in my opinion. Yeah.
Interesting.
How does Enneagram show up in the workplace? So I briefly said that I own a Taekwondo studio. I'm actually an Olympic style Taekwondo coach. And so like aggression is where it's at when we come to that sport. And so like my 8 shows up a lot during coaching, and I enjoy that. I think that's what makes me such a strong.
Oh my God.
Hey, we're still here.
Oh my God, you're also here.
Shane had to go to bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in crippling pain.
Oh God.
But you couldn't tell.
because he was.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I couldn't tell at all.
I want to say that's an ESFP trait, right? That we just muscle through it, right? John, you're flexing your biceps there. That's kind of funny there.
I have so my desk is on rollers currently in my office, and so my chair is so much lower than my desk. So I have to sit on my leg in order to be seen. But the only comfortable place to rest my arm is on my knee. I guess you can't really see that, but my knee is literally up in the chair. So I'm not trying to flex my body. I'm just literally resting my head.
I'm just ribbing you, man.
Oh yeah, your name tag covers it up a little bit.
Sorry, I need to be more cognizant of that.
No, it's okay. Yeah, you got the muscle flex it. Huh? So.
Yeah. There'll just be a bunch of girls DMing you after this. Nice.
No,
See, Shane was showing off his yellow car, so
I love Shane's style. I see a lot of 7 in Shane. He is very.
Oh my god, he's so stylish. I always see him. I see pure success when I see him. He's the embodiment of style and wealth,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a status symbol on his own.
That's a Cali thing.
Yeah.
It makes me want to go visit California to see more of that fancy stuff because oh my god, that looks amazing. The yellow insights and cars and cities and suits and stuff. God, it's awesome stuff.
Where Sally? Where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
No kidding. What part?
So where all the cities are, Houston.
I used
Dallas.
to live. I used to live in Plano.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to SMU in Dallas. That was my alma mater.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so, John, do you have that story you wanted to tell us about that we accidentally cut you off?
I don't remember what I was saying.
Taekwondo 8 story.
Oh, just that my 8 does show up when I'm coaching. And I think that's what makes me such a strong coach because and the ESFP, actually my personality type puts me in that Olympic coach's role because I'm very confident in what I'm saying and my athlete responds well when I'm confident. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm not confident, if I'm questioning it and they're the one fighting, Taekwondo is weird as a sport. I don't mean weird. It's interesting. I literally sit within probably 6 to 8 feet of my athlete. I have a chair sitting back, and it's almost I have designed it to where I have a number system, but it's a game for me. So I can say 45 to the right, 3 to the head, or 3 up, right? And so they know that means step to the right, and they're going to throw a right leg to the head. And so I get to play the game on the outside. And as long as I do so and sound confident throughout it and just aggressive and let's go, then they respond very well. But at any point, if I'm questioning it myself, people, they feed off, they can pick that up. And so I think being an ESFP, being an 8, makes me that confident coach and also just gives me the ability to see what other people don't see in the ring. And so it's fun for me to be able to process what's coming next before anybody else has the ability to process it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Very cool. And so for ESFPs, they're always one step ahead of people or 10 steps ahead because they know it's coming ahead of everyone else. And then basically Peter was telling me about how he'll kind of feel like he has to take on a lot of tasks because he notices that something needs to be fixed before anyone else does. So he fixes it before anyone else knows it's a problem. Yeah. For ESFPs, that keen perceptiveness can cause them to take on a lot of work because everyone else is a slow reactor. So
exactly.
Then the ESFP is I'm just going to do it myself.
Yep.
I think an ESFP accomplishes more in 1 week than most people do in a month. Really. Mm-hmm. We can do that in that amount of time.
Neat.
Do you find communication issues with leadership? And what I mean, I guess more specifically is I've had people that have wanted to be partner with me or wanted to work with me on something. But when it comes to a snap decision, I don't rely on anybody else where I should, technically if it's a partner, sorry, Joyce, that was me. Technically if it's a partner, I should make a phone call and be like, hey, I think this is the direction we're going to go with the business. Like, how do you feel about this? Instead of making that phone call, it's usually just a snap decision. Yes or no. Like, we're going to go.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I do.
And so I still need to work on that communication quite a bit, where even if I don't value so much or like agree with a partner's decision in that or their opinion on that, I still should ask. I still should, make them feel heard as well. I still should go to them with the information instead of making them feel like they don't exist.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe a pet peeve of ESFPs is slowing down for others.
Yes. Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
awesome.
I think we're perceived then as being impulsive and not giving into like you just said, John, people have different advice to give, and it's almost like we don't want to hear it. And I know that's a huge weakness of mine. I just want to do what I want to do and get it done.
For sure. I get called impatient a lot because I just want to freaking go do my internet and stuff. And if my internet slows down like a little bit, then I'm gonna notice it and be cussing it out like crazy. And everyone hears it in the freaking lobby, like I'll be gaming and stuff. Just doing my thing and my internet slows down, it's like, oh no, it's interrupting my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so thank you so much, ESFPs, for coming out. Yep. Y'all do things so quickly, like expediently, efficiently, and you guys are great problem solvers on the spot and just really smart on your feet and adaptable and flexible. And like you all were saying, like freight trains, like you guys have a momentum, just a very powerful momentum, and you get stuff done, get stuff moving, and you guys have productivity like no other.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so you guys make good business owners. John in his gym. Yeah, and you guys know how to have fun while also getting things accomplished. Like Peter, he can make impersonations and have fun, but also like finish things and like multiple things at the same time. And that's just mind blowing. Yeah. And I like, Sally and her endless enthusiasm. Like whenever someone says something like, authority, you're like, yeah, authority sucks. Yeah, it's like you're really passionate. And I love the passion you bring to conversation. It like energizes me. It wakes me up. I'm like, wow. Yeah. So thank you, ESFPs, for bringing your spice to the workplace. You guys are like Energizer bunnies. Like EPs tend to be like Energizer bunnies, and you have that that spark to you, and it's like a mystery how you guys have so much energy bottled up inside you, like untapped energy that when you're working is just so plentiful. You're able to like expend yourself so much. It's so amazing. Yeah. And so you guys are a valuable asset to any workplace, and very, very good at being fast, like Sonic the Hedgehog. So thank you for that. I appreciate you guys.
Well, and thank you for giving us a voice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Giving us a platform for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad we have like a platform here. Like we're doing like literally like amazing things with your channel, Joyce, because like I've always had so much stuff to say on typology. I never got to like put it out there until now, like just in the community. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's nice to hear ESFPs in their own words. So
exactly. That. Rather than we always say the stereotypes, which are so annoying every time I read them. So.
Oh my god, I get like infuriated when I read the stereotypes. I'm like, oh my god, I want to correct this, because everybody doesn't read it.
Yep.
So thank you for correcting all of the misinformation online. With each video, like we create a more accurate ESFP representation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
For watching. And I'll see you all. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.